flights of slabs contain more writing all the way down the hill. The odd thing, he tells you, is that the writing occasionally changes depending on who's reading it. Usually it describes the story of the gods, but it can be about nearly any topic. Sadly, Avon does not know how to read it himself. Juno could, he says. Move on. As you're ready to depart, you hear screams from near the main godstone. The same boys curious about the dead dredge from before are shrieking and pointing. For a moment, you think it must not have been dead, but then you see that they have opened a wrapping that was in the dredge's hands. Wait, says Ivor, his arm across your chest. This shouldn't be seen. Get everyone away. A chill sweeps over you. Alette pushes past and gasps. Stop, shouts Ivor, but the curious onlookers have already seen it. Oh, what is it? Leave it. On the ground, before the dead slinger, is a small, stony figure, his hands searching for something it can't find. That's a baby. That dredge is a woman? We've been killing women. We've been slaughtering women and children this whole time? Leaving them to die? In a war, it's only the males who fight. We've been fighting these dredge the whole way. Why are women and children on their backs attacking us? They're not invading, they're running. Everyone stops dead in their tracks. The entire caravan is gathered around, aghast. When I spoke to Juno, she told me something was coming. She didn't know what. A darkness, something black is covering the world, and the dredge are running from it just as we're running from them. The serpent, the quake, it's all the beginning of the end. Ivor, you knew? Why? Why didn't you say something? Ivor? When I was young, I killed one of the Sunder during the Second Great War. We called it raise. Every time we'd build our defenses, it would flatten them and push us back again. I became separated from the rest of the Varl and stumbled upon Raise deep in a snowstorm, alone. She was nursing. I threw my axe. It twisted in the wind. Her son died in her arms. She was so pathetic, kneeling in the snow. She didn't even try to stop me when I took her head. That's how I killed Asunder. When I found my way to Grofheim, the Varl wanted me to make me Kender next to the king. I left, walked until I ended up in Skoger, where no one knew what I had done. The only sound is the wind blowing through the trees. Damn. For a long time, nobody says a thing until a child breaks the silence. What do we do with the baby? She asks. A lump forms in your throat, looking at the small obsidian creature squirming before you. While some grumble about leaving it to chance, the caravan votes pretty clearly in favor of leaving the infant behind. It remains beneath the godstone as the caravan departs. You try to put the whole episode from your mind and focus on reaching Sigerholm. Oh, you can actually see the body there. You're making the usual rounds when you hear a rather large debate coming from the area that Varl have gathered. Ivor joins you as you approach. Ubin, you'd rather be known for falling asleep and dying in the corner of a mead house than battling asunder? No, I'd rather be known not for not dying. Don't you even know what you're worried about? I did this 100 times in the Great Wars. Take some warriors, plow head first into the dredge. They follow you into the hills. Get lost now, they're not following you. When you did this 100 times, did they have Bellower leading them? Have you ever heard about the time I hit Bellower in the head with a throwing axe? Both Varl halt their debate when they notice you're watching. Don't stop on my account. Careful, my friend. A lot of old history getting thrown around here. The warriors were just noting there's a damn good number of dredge on our asses. Bellower pulling up the rear. This one thinks he can just wander up there and throw them off our tracks. How about some gratitude? Thought you'd be happy to finally be the oldest Varl in the land, Ubin. I'm never happy to lose more Varl, Kruger. Besides, I'm not convinced you're really older than me. Ha! That might work on Ivor, little one. I'm not asking for your blessing. In the old days, I'd already be halfway to the battlefield by now. Speaking of which, you coming, Ingvar? Or you could ask Bellower for your arm back. Don't think so. Not exactly in the mood right now. All right then. I'll tell Hoderborg you said hello. Krumer and a good many Varl warriors head out towards the growing army of Dredge. Is he going to come back? He always has before. But this time feels different, I fear. Stop! A resolute voice calls from somewhere in front of you. The surrounding terrain comes alive with armed fighters surrounding the caravan. No need for bloodshed, the leader says. Leave a couple wagons and pretend you never even stopped here. Inform them about the dredge. Guessing you have no idea the dredge are on their way, you shout. If that's the case, friend, says the leader, we need those supplies more than ever. Not taking my heckin' supplies. Got like nothing. Alright. Killing some dudes, I guess. Nice. Nice. Hmm. Take that guy down a little bit. Oh, come on. Get him. Sniped. Well, at least it was just Rook. Hey, we can see Saga home. Thank God. Gather around, doubters, echoes a shout in the distance as Krumer and his band of warriors break through the foliage. And behold the invincible Varl. The cavern is thrilled to see caravan. Bleh, is thrilled to see Krumer return safely. Did the plan work? Asks Zubin. Work, responds Krumer. Of course it worked. Same old dredge. Should be another day or two at least before they even find their own asses. And if you apologize, I'll tell you how I found these, Krumer says, tossing you a pair of leather gloves that look big enough for a Varl. He leans in close, whispering to so Ubin can't hear. Had something to do with a raven's nest and a hair tie. I'll have to check out that item.
As Sigurholm approaches, we fear the worst. The once calm lake surrounding it now looks like a bowl that has been flipped. Proud home sinking into muddy water. A side effect of the quake. What has the rest of the world become on the other side of those mountains?
Oof. One catastrophe to another, says Oddleaf as you pull into Sigerholm. The town appears to be sinking into the lake. Townspeople peek from dark windows in makeshift hovels further up the hill. No, says Aven, looking frantic. Where is she? He runs to the front of the caravan, looking out over the water. Juno isn't here, and you get the creeping feeling you're not welcome either. Going upriver looks out of the question. The beach is bare, aside from the occasional skeleton of a ruined fishing boat. You reluctantly set up camp in the sinking town. All I'm saying is, how long are you willing to wait? While taking stock of the caravan, you've inadvertently walked into a debate between Oddleaf and Avend. As long as we need to. And I think we need to get out of here. I don't feel good about this place. Why? What's wrong? Something doesn't feel right. The people here are staring at us like vultures in the wastes. I'm sorry, Avend. I think Oddleaf is right. I saw a man. The whole time we were setting up, he was just watching me in a creepy way. And how long before the dredge find us here? Juno will come. Just give it a little more time. Rook, listen to me. I need you to trust me on this. Oh, we got some renown. Although we should probably spend it on other stuff. What's this? +3 strength. Nice. Let's see, what do we currently have on you? Oh, yeah, you got the break item. That's right. A scuffle has broken out in front of the houses. "Thief!" shouts one of your people as a group of strangers flee. Oddleaf is already running their direction. "They took our supplies!" you hear from nearby. You wander onto a beach where some men have been waiting for you. Some terse words are exchanged about whether anything has been stolen or not. You don't see who draws the first weapon, but it stops the conversation cold. Oh, okay. We're fighting. Heckin' fight time. Kind of an odd layout. Hello, random moth. Damn, everyone going after Rook. Whew. Ah, damn it. Ugh. This guy nasty. Ouch. Well, I guess I'm glad we didn't rest first, because now we definitely got to rest. Thieves scatter pretty quickly, and you start laying into them, but when you return to the caravan, you discover why more supplies have gone missing since you rushed out to fight. Ow! A random assortment of people from the caravan confront you. Listen, says one, we don't feel safe here. I don't know about anything about menders or whatever, but we're going to leave, and I hope you'll join us. Looks like a couple dozen people, farmers and fighters alike, feel the same way. Encourage them to stay. They make it very clear they're not interested in discussing the issue, shaking their heads and setting out. With they're out the rest of the caravan ready to go, there's little you can do to stop them. You hope they make it and that you haven't made a mistake yourself. Okay, let's talk to Avon. You're really worried about her, aren't you? What? Oh, Juno. Worry doesn't begin to describe it. If she doesn't find us here, or something has happened to her. Are you sure what you saw was real? It could have been a dream, or I don't know, you were pretty exhausted. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure anymore. Everything is a blur. Don't tell the others I said that. I have to hope it wasn't just a dream. What's it like to be a mender? Being a mender, I guess I never really thought about it like that. It's just a part of me. They knew very young I would join the order, born into it, you could say. My mother and father, both menders. The guild is for lots of people now, builders and healers. Do they all pull lightning out of the sky? No, no, that's not normal. It's one of the reasons I know Juno. She's one of the council. She helps me control things like this, so we don't end up scaring people. How exactly does weaving work, anyways? Well, the hardest part is usually seeing the threads. Everything is part of the tapestry. It's made of threads woven together. If you can see the threads, you can manipulate them. I don't know how to explain it, really. It's like trying to play a harp with invisible strings. Look at my staff, for example. Some mentors carve intricate patterns in the wood to help them remember the shapes of... Like I said, hard to explain. Why is Bellower still following us? I saw Grofheim as it burned. Avon gets a far look away in his eyes. The thunder blew through it like a tempest. The Varl fell in the thousands. Most of the thunder left the city and headed south. Who knows where they are now? They might be destroying every town they come to, or heading towards Harborong. Bellower stayed in Grofheim just for the sport of it, I think. As we fled to Einertoft, I thought he must want to wipe the Varl off the map completely, but then he came after us. Maybe he knew Ivor was the one who killed Reyes. Maybe, but let's just make sure he doesn't catch up. Do you think this is the end times? I don't know what to think. I wish I could give you a better answer. Even if we escaped the dredge, that serpent set of darkness was covering the world. I don't know how long that will take, or what it means even. I'm just trying to solve one problem at a time. The Menders are in Oberon. If we can find ships and make it to the capital, we might have a chance. No, it's okay, Rook. I appreciate the talk. It's good to stay grounded. I spend all day worrying about serpents or Sunder. I think a lot of people are intimidated or scared, maybe, of me. Don't worry, it's nothing new. I'm used to it. Maybe sometime we can talk about things that don't include the world ending. Okay, I think I might take Nid off. And instead do Avend. Okay. I think at this point, let's leave. Rook, wait, please, Avon begs. She said she'd be here. We need her. You can tell he's terrified of leaving, as though he'd be giving up on Juno. I'm sure she'll catch up with us. Avon looks out across the lake with a 1,000-mile stare. He says nothing. We've got problems, says Ivor. The whole place is flooded. We could try to walk the muddy parts, but it's going to be slow going. We could try to float the caravan over the lake, but we might tip or get stuck. Or we could go around the whole thing, but no idea how long that'll take. What do you think? Hmm. I'll try a float. You spend some time rigging the wagons to float on the water, sealing with tree sap and whatever else you can have on hand. The rest of the caravan finds anything they can float on, small boats or makeshift rafts. Some swim. With a deep breath, you set off from the bank. You do your best to float the various ragtag groups of your caravan across the muddy lake towards Beauregard. Things quickly go bad, between rafts pulling apart or people tipping into the murky water of the lake. Eventually you gather everyone up, but you've lost precious time and supplies to the bog. Ooh, that was 3 days worth of supplies. Ow. Well, I feel like it might have taken that long going around the long way anyways, so who's to say? Oof. The supplies get real tight here at the end of this game. Ooh-wee. You notice that most of the bar are pacing while others sleep. Their brief conversations with each other and other clansmen grow shorter and sharper. Go away, roars one Varl at a young girl, asking him too many questions. All the clansmen stop and stare. We'll make jokes. I think you just ruined her dream of marrying a Varl boy, you say, timing your smile just right. The giant grins and throws back his head with booming laughter. Other Varl join in the march and the caravan feels uplifted. The giant explains, we live in the north for its space, endless miles of snow, ice, mountain, fields, space to be alone. But here there's no time for such things. Understanding slowly tricks through the caravan, relieving some of the tension. Nice! I'll take some improved morale. Oh, 4 days. As you're about to head off to sleep for the night, Onuf pulls you aside. I have a couple concerns I wanted to speak to you about, he says. In private. You'll find a quiet place to talk. What's on your mind? How well do you know the people traveling with us? How many strangers are in the caravan now? We have picked up quite a few. I've been watching folks since I joined you. Your companions from Skogar, they're loyal. I mean, it seems pretty clear that they die to protect you. I suppose I'd do the same. What about the Varl? You don't even know half those warriors. You're telling me they have no problem following a man's orders now? After everything that happened in Einertoft? I trust Ivor to handle it. He's fearless, I'll give you that, but look at him. He's run ragged. He can't be there all the time. What happens the first time the Varl don't want to do what you tell them? If Krumer gave the word, I guarantee at least half would follow. Let's be honest, they could take this caravan by force any time if they wanted to. We got no choice but to trust them. Gotta disagree with that, Rook. We always have a choice. They're not the biggest problem, though. There's a mender with us, a mender who pulls lightning out of the sky and tells us what to do and where to go. Myself, I think we lucked out when this mender didn't show up in Sigerholm. Avon's just the apprentice. What in the depths is his master capable of? I heard they were found practically dead in the middle of nowhere when the dread started showing up. Then an enormous serpent shows up at Einertoft after tearing the world in half and takes one look at Avon and bolts. Suddenly they need our help instead of the Mender Council? How does that make any damn sense? You make some valid points. Points you should have made on your own. I'm grateful for what you've done to get us this far, Rook, but it's always been about trust. I think it's time to part ways, so to speak, nothing personal. Suddenly you gasp for air. When you look down, Onuf is holding a knife buried deep in your ribs. Whoa, what? Your vision blurs and blood fills your sight. You gasp again, there's a bird whistle, and the camp becomes a blur of motion. Onuf's fighters from Frostfeller leap into action, cutting people down. As Oddleaf turns to fire on the men, Onuf runs her through and pulls the blade from her back without breaking his stride. She drops like a sack of flour. Onuf heads straight for Alette, who freezes in terror. You rise to your feet through the pain. Oddleaf is dead. Somehow you find the strength to cleave the nearest traitor in two, but you can't find the breath to shout. You think your lung is punctured. Onuf clutches Alette's wrist, averts the commotion, tosses her bow aside, and pulls her into the deep woods. Her eyes meet yours across the campsite. No, her lips say, though you can't hear the words. A dozen men appear between you as Ivor steps into view, as fearsome as you've ever seen him. Oh, shit. Well then. Okay, let's take out this whole group of dudes over here. At least he's pretty low. Okay, let's get the heck over there. Ooh, get a crit. Nice. Pillage! Get him! Damn. Fucking ONF, what the fuck? Where is Alette? Shouts Ivor, tearing through the nearest bandit, but you're already hobbling into the deep woods where they disappeared, ignoring the battle raging behind you. In a haze of pain, you start to think you've lost their tracks, and you hear Alette screaming in the distance, followed by silence. You tear through the trees. In a small clearing, Alette lies with her back against a tree, her hands and clothes covered in blood, and she stares vacantly ahead, unblinking. Beside her is the body of Onef, an arrow buried in his right eye as if placed there by hand. She looks in your direction, and at Onef. I killed him, she says. Damn, girl. Alette, are you alright? Pretend that we're, have a nice stab wound in our chest and have blood everywhere. You cringe as much from pain as the appearance of Alette after her bloody struggle with Onef. No, I'm not hurt. I had no choice. Dad, your chest, you're bleeding. She is at your side, putting pressure on the wound. I can fix this. Where is my needle? Oddleaf, anyone! Ivor, I found them. Just as your sight goes black, you see Ava and Ivor and Alette standing over you. He's going to make it? Your eyes open to the sound of Alette's voice. Normally, a wound like that, I only hope I did enough. I'll survive. Dad! Alette stops her help from hugging your bandaged chest, pulling your head to her instead. The words come out easier than you expected. Oddleaf? It's a good thing Avon was here. She's going to pull through, though it was a nasty wound. We managed to kill most of these traitorous sons of bitches, and the rest fled into the woods. There were a lot of people I couldn't save. You did everything you could, Avon. Nobody expects you to raise the dead. Avon frowns deeply, putting a hand to his forehead. Why did Onif do this, Rook? He was talking to you right before it happened. He thought my leadership would get us killed. Utter bastard, all this time we had no idea. Echo killed a good half-dozen of Onif's men by himself. He told me Onif was running Frostfeller the whole time. He left Frostfeller behind when he saw a better opportunity. Guess that relationship is over. Echo was always just the barking dog you put in the yard to find out who your enemies are. It was no accident Onif went after those of us from Skoger. He must have thought with us gone he'd take the banner and the rest would fall in line. Or at worst they'd take all the supplies and leave the rest as dredge bait. We have to be more careful, can't just let anyone join the caravan anymore. Where do you draw the line, Ivor? I don't know, Rook, I really don't. None of this changes the fact that Bellower is out there following us. The swamp around Sigerholm might buy us some time, but we've got to keep moving. Your body aches all over, but Ivor's right. The road calls, the caravan's packing up camp. Ooh, boy. How is the wound? You notice Oddleif wince as she rises to greet you. It's doing a lot better. When I saw it happen, I thought for sure, well, I'm really glad you would have missed me, Rook. She smiles. Without Avon, that's all you could have done. Instead, you'll have to put up with my crap a little longer. It still aches like you wouldn't believe, though, or maybe you would. Heard you took a stabbing yourself. I guess things could have gone worse. What do you think about the caravan? You mean, should we start kicking people out? That's a tough one. Usually I'd be the first to give you a dirty look for suggesting it. On the other hand, I've got a sword in my back. Ollie thinks for a long moment before sighing. Don't send anyone away. Just make sure nothing happens to Alette. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. Sometimes it's lonely since my husband died. I guess I'd say it's more like being alone, even surrounded by all these people. Not like I don't have enough to worry about, though. I'm glad to have Alette around. And you, Rook. I'll let you get some rest. Okay, thanks. I'll take you up on that. You know, you're welcome to keep me company. When I'm a little more awake, I mean. I'll talk to you later. Oh. Look who it is, still not dead. How are things, Rook? I can never guess with you, Ekil. I heard you helped drive off the traitors when Onif attacked us. Always leaves me wondering, what's your deal? I'm not so hard to understand. Why don't you try asking instead of telling? Why didn't you warn us about Onif? Didn't I? How many times did I have to call him a traitor before you got the message? What do you want me to say? Watch out, Onif's going to murder your whole family. He didn't fill me in on the details. He was always like that. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to convince you to off me, but listen, I don't need to know, so keep it to yourself. Why did you stick with him? I don't know, Rook. Family makes you do weird things. You know what the worst part is? We became kin when he married my sister. She died of fever one night, but she didn't. She wasn't sick. He killed her. I don't know why he did it. Maybe he just felt like it. I was so furious. I got so angry that I wanted him to beg. I could kill him without a second thought, but that wasn't enough. I wanted him to feel sick about it, puke his guts out. And somehow it turned into, over time, he never cared, and I gave up and did what he wanted. Don't know how it happened. But when I attacked you in Frostfeller, guess I'll just say it wasn't my idea. Well, you're welcome to stay with us. Had no plans to go anywhere, so you're going to let me walk around with my own axe and everything? That doesn't mean I'm not watching you. I can accept that. You're a good man. And I need to take a piss. You're not the only busy man around here, you know. You shake your head as Echo steps away from camp. Oh, the characters in this game. They're great. What's your thing? Hmm. Okay. Well, we don't have any supplies. How many days do people need to rest? One. Okay, we'll do 1. Alright, let's go. Really hope we get somewhere before those supplies run out. Although we only have 3 left, and I'm not seeing a... Oh, wait. Tiny village. Tiny village! Anar, the quirky old man with the leather headband, says, if there's one thing I know better than women and mead, it's, well... He smiles. Well, nothing, but I know when a group could use some help. Just nod and let old Unar make everything better. No questions now. Sure. That evening, Onar clears his throat and loudly recites a tale of travelers, ending with war and death behind them, seeking hope instead. They carried on with courage, using heart and head. A strange poem, but the caravan is happy for a change of pace. Onar bows and turns to assist the cooks, and the evening's meal is larger than ever, yet the supply wagons seem more full than before. You look to thank Unar, but he is gone. Oh. Well, that worked out. Thank you, weird old man. You may have saved our bacon a bit there. Well, this isn't our final destination, but that's definitely at least a village. The villagers here are completely oblivious to the destruction that's coming. All we've seen is some dark figures far off, they tell you. Aside from a few young families, they're reluctant to pick up their things and join you. Alright. Well, we got a ton of supplies. 2 weeks should probably hold us good until we get to wherever we're going. Assuming, bullshit doesn't happen. But, of course, bullshit's going to happen. Hey, Godstone! The caravan consists of more clansmen than you ever expected. Accusations of stolen chickens, missing heirlooms, and concerns over daughters' virtues are the sorts of things you hear relentlessly. Even fighters complain of spreading too thin to protect everyone. Let's form a council. You select a few older members to solve everyday issues, but the infighting neuters their progress. Other members feel they could do a better job. Ultimately, while it buys some time, the council dissolves, tired of the thankless, demanding work. Well, at least it seems that was neutral. We didn't lose supplies, and it didn't say our morale declined, so I'll take it. Someone's been nicking extra goods from the supplies, a concerned woman tells you. Counted these myself yesterday, no mistake. This keeps up, we'll be starving before long. Notice anything unusual around the wagons? You ask several groups in the caravan. To a man, they shake their heads, though they ask no questions. You can tell concern is spreading. Well, that's pretty baller looking, Godstone. The imposing godson of Bjorulf approaches. His severe visage makes it feel as he's watching you even now. The caravan spreads out, happy to be free of the confining forest and in fields. Hogan pulls you aside to show you some red berries growing on an ash tree. It looks like it was chopped down long ago. These shouldn't be growing here, he says excitedly. I haven't seen these in a long time. He and Mogan busily go about collecting the berries. In fact, in honor of Bjorulf, some of the caravan crack kegs of mead and wine before anyone can stop them. "To the only god that matters," they shout. Everyone drinks, and you're glad for the merriment that has swept over the caravan. You look at the godstone, Bjorolf's head surrounded by images of casks and drinking horns. Though he was always depicted as being stern, Bjorolf was one of the most popular gods of men in Varl, the one who taught them how to brew. It seems like more than coincidence that the long fields around Bjorolf's stone have always been excellent for growing anything you could need for a good drink. What exactly are these, you ask Hogan? When I would travel to Beauregard with my father, sometimes he'd buy us a few of these, Hogan replies. Couldn't be a luckier find. See for yourself. You try one, you can feel energy return to your tired limbs. Not taking a few more would be a wasted opportunity, you figure. As the hour becomes late, the caravan's ready to get back on the road. The day by Bureau Stone is only one of the few memories that hasn't been tarnished by the specter of bad fortune, you think to yourself. Distleberry. What's that one do? Oh, another little village. Oh, nope, that's... Oh, wait, no, well, that is a village, but it's not the one we're trying to get to. A mother's screams flood the caravan. Her daughter lies dead in a tent. We all know who did this, she spits, staring directly at the woman she scuffled with previously. Oh, shit. Murder over a marriage? In these times, something must be done. The accused woman remains silent. Investigate. The healer joins you in inspecting the young girl's corpse. An old infection, says the healer. No punctures, no choking, no poison. She died of disease. You report the news to the caravan. The mother admits she always knew her daughter was ill, and everyone moves on. Oof.
Rainweek is more of a smattering of farmhouses than a proper town. Though judging by stray dredge stalking through empty fields, it is barely even that anymore.
Rainovic comes and goes as a long series of farmhouses abandoned and crawling with dredge. The farmers have probably already fled to Beauregard. You try to hurry past, but are spotted. Dredge start ambling in your direction. What is that? Points out Oddleaf up near one of the longhouses. In the distance, a large person, clothes covered in blood, is cursing loudly, stumbling about. He staggers into the longhouse, laughing. The dredge heading your direction turn back roaring and begin to pound on the longhouse door. They seem to be holding a grudge against this particular person. You doubt the door will hold long. Let's help. Against my better judgment, we should probably do something, you say. The others agree, even though it means putting them all at risk, as you quietly approach the dredge man to splinter the door and break through. Hey, shouts the Varl, wearing all red, standing on the other side of the dredge. Came all the way up here just for me. He seems unconcerned about the dredge as he hoists his enormous sword. Alright. +2 move, -1 aggro. Cool. We're going up against dredge. We want our big old boys. Oh yeah, what was this berry we got? What's this? +2 will per rest. Let's see, what do you got right now? One face will. Good chance. Okay. Let's go. Okay, what do we got? Okay, most of them are pretty dink. Aside from him. Nice. Okay. Well, little dudes, but hopefully shouldn't be too big of an issue. Oh! Damn, deflect. Alright, my dude. Nice. Beautiful. There we go. Oh, nice. Took out two. Get that crit. I always get Rook. Get him! Boom. At least it's only Rook. Poor Rook getting beat to heck. Sprake and Mark Frey are just too good. Welcome to my mead house, Sigbjorn's House of Mead. Wasn't expecting to find a varl this south or this drunk. I can see that. There are people huddled in the corners of the mead hall looking on with uneasiness. Who are all of these? Who are you people? No, no, they're friends. They made this place. It's not really mine. You lured Dredge back to a room full of unarmed people? What is wrong with you? Come on, I saved everyone in here. They shared some fine drink, the best drink. Wait, I was saving your ass. Remember that part? If you knew you'd come up here, you could have told me. What do we do with this guy? Townspeople show you a huge stack of barrels filled with quality mead and help you haul them back to the caravan. I'll miss this place. Good memories. With some help, you gather up casks of mead and head back to the caravan. Siegborn and other survivors in tow. The caravan gives the boisterous varl a large berth as you set out for Beauregard. Ugh, what did I do? Sigbjorn wakes in a pool of his own sick. Why am I surrounded by small people? The other clansmen let him sleep off his drunken stupor on the ground, and this morning he's paying the price. Reluctantly, your clansmen offer food and drink they can scrounge together for the moaning varl. When one offers thin meat, he pushes it away. In fact, take this away from me, he says, handing you his massive mead stain. Eventually, Sigbjorn comes to you. I won't get into details, he says. I was supposed to bring those casks from Reynevik back to Boersgard. I drank maybe half by accident. Point is, you don't tell anybody what happened. I won't tell anyone about the mead you got, okay? Trust me on this one. You agree and get back to travel. Oof, might need to rest for the morale. A group of men with broad shoulders and thick cloaks approach the caravan. They might be outlaws you hear nearby, and the idea quickly ripples through the clansmen. One of the strangers reproaches, saying, "We've run out of food. Any help would be welcome." His hard eyes reveal nothing of his motivations. You consider how you want to approach this. Fight with us, earn your food. The men look surprised by your offer. In short order, they join the caravan and start sharing tales and drinks. Unfortunately, less than a day later, you discover they vanished along with a sizable portion of your supplies. Oh, 3 days worth. No encouragement of tales or glory lift the spirits of the caravan. In the north we have times like these, said one of the Varl. The other giants grin, raising tankards of horns of mead. Skål, they shout, and make short work of their drinks, explain each person takes a drink when someone tells a story more miserable than the last. Others join them for the second round, and mead is passed your way. Sure. Taking the mead, you shout "Skål!" The crowd cheers and laughter echoes throughout the camp for hours. Each person comes up with more absurd tales of woe. The Varl's remedy is a success, and the caravan's in a much better mood the following day, albeit hungover with less mead. Well, at least the morale's a little better. Hey, Boersgard, we're gonna make it.
Steep cliffs, the sprawl of Boersgard comes into view. A city of contrasting rich and poor, opportunity and gamble. Our best hope for salvation, or our graves.
Oh, Chapter 7. Finally, you arrive at Boersgard, where the walls stretch for miles in both directions, littered with bodies of dredge, varl, and men. "Excuse the mess," shouts a voice from above the gates. Looking up, you see a striking varl, his face wreathed with matted black hair. Movement at the gate catches your eye. Dredgers still bang on the gate doors without luck. "Let us in," you shout. Sigbjorn pushes past. "I won't be hearing the end of this for a while," he says before yelling, "Open up, Bolverk! They dug me out of Reynevik." You hear a laugh echoing on the wind as the doors creak. A dozen men, led by the massive Varl, make quick work of the dredge and usher you into the city. You may be interested to know they brought a mender. You didn't go to get a mender. Where's the mead? Sigbjorn shrugs apologetically. I don't like how I'm doing that guy's voice. We'll pick something else. I guess the mender will do. We've got a chance now, or we're completely screwed. I'm Rook. We've come a long ways, some as far as Skoger. Are you in charge here? In charge of the governor, I suppose. Listen, if you have something to tell him, say it now, otherwise you're on your own. I don't care where you go, but stirring up trouble is probably the only reason you'll see me again. It won't be to talk. Mender, come along. We're going to see the governor. Bolverk and Sigbjorn leave with Avon, who goes willingly, signaling that he's fine. Fane, this is just like Frostfeller all over again. This is nothing like Frostfeller. The one in bearskin's probably leading the Ravens. Ravens? Is that good or bad? Depends on who they're working for. Hopefully it really is the governor, and not someone trying to strong-arm into his seat. I guess we wait for Avon to tell us if he comes back. I'm not worried about Avon. I'm worried about the army of refugees we bought who don't belong here. You're probably right. No one's ever uttered a nice thing about Boersgard, so what now? We ought to go to the docks and see what our options are in case we need to leave quickly. Did you notice the city guards when we came in? What guards? I have a feeling the Ravens are all they've got left. Something serious went down. When Bellower gets here, he's going to walk right through this place without breaking a stride. Let's keep that to ourselves for now. So, the docks. Okay, Alright, we'll deal with that until we have to actually fight someone. When you get to the docks, your heart sinks, not a longship to be seen, aside from the wrecks. Bodies float in the water, buildings are trashed or boarded up. What happened here? Murmurs Alette. They're all gone, says Awen, approaching alone. I see you had the same thought as me. Avon, you're okay. I'm fine, it wasn't a lie. The governor's here. He's in hiding. Why? Since the dredge started appearing, anyone with a ship and a half a wit left long ago. People can't leave by foot. Food is scarce. The markets are bare. Beauregard is a fire cake waiting for someone to tip it over. So the governor's paying the ravens to protect him from against his own people. And keep the peace, so to speak. It's more like a massacre any time there's a hint of an uprising. Where does that leave us? I promised him the Mender's protection in Arborong. I don't think he's very popular there. They're going to start tearing this place down to build new ships. We can ride the Ormsa River all the way to the capital, leaving another perfectly good city behind. How long will it take to build the new ships? Hold on, what happens to the people living in Beauregard? It's the best I could do, Alette. He thought it could take as long as a month. You usually don't make ships out of scrap lumber. As soon as people figure out what's going on, there's going to be riots. A month? Why bother? Bellower will be here within the week, if not sooner. I'm open to suggestions. Gods be damned, is there no end to this? Ivor roars in frustration, leaving you standing by the docks. Alette gives you a worried look before chasing after him. Avon, what do we do about Bellower? Avon says nothing for a moment. I don't know. You find Ivor standing on the city walls overlooking the fields outside. Dredge are keeping their distance, but continue to gather. I'm okay, Rook. Ivor cuts you off before you can say anything. You know he's been through worse. This feels like someone should cut us a break every now and then. If we want to be standing a month from now, we're going to have to be prepared. What about the Ravens? They'll save their own hides, and whoever's paying, they don't give two damns about the rest of us. We may even end up facing against them, depending on how this goes. Let's avoid that. First off, our clansmen need a place to stay. They'll get torn to pieces in the streets. I'll keep an eye on the dredge up here. If they break through the walls, we're done for, so we'll have to keep them back. Can always use a hand with that. We need to know who's controlling what and make sure we get our cut. Food's going to become scarce. When they start building those ships, we're going to have to keep people away. What a damn mess. I'll do what I can. Oof. Ivor explains. I'm leading attacks with Avon every time the dredge get too close to the gates. Listen, we're going to lose fighters in Varl every day like this. I don't need to tell you what happens if nobody's manning the wall. We could always use help. You consider what to do now, knowing that any of these tasks will likely take a full day. Let's do supply source. I checked around, Haldeep tells you. Nobody has food and they won't part with it for a fair price. And our medicine's been gone for days. They're either gouging the prices or it's just plain gone. He doesn't say it, but you can tell this is going to be a serious problem. You find the massive leader of the Ravens along the docks, where they're doing their best to keep a growing number of people in check while the boats are being constructed. You question him about food supplies. Should have brought your own, he said. Should have brought your own, he says. I can't go giving out to every person in Beauregard. I'd kill every last bastard in the city for some good mead, though. This place has been dry for weeks. Wolverk laughs in your face. Looking for mercy from me, I'd rip your head off on the spot if it were part of the contract. You take the hint and leave the docks more worried than before, with nothing to show for it. Oof. Ivor points out the dredge on the wall. There's a lot more of them. They're getting braver, he says. We lost a fair number of fighters since yesterday. We could use your help if there's nobody left to defend the walls. Alright. Been a little more aggressive lately, says Ivor. With their numbers going up, they don't take us seriously unless we're taking out two for every one we lose. Shit. Oof. Ah, no Bjorov. Okay. Nice, not very many of them. Big guys, though. Fuck. No calling people. Oh, thankfully I didn't do too much. Oh, nice. Good job, Alette. Nice. Oof. Oh, that is not worth it to buy anything there. So much renown for nothing. This is bad, says Avon as Ivor points across the battlefield. Aside from the fact that we're up to our necks in dredge, a stone singer showed up. If we don't deal with it, the wall will come down by the end of the day. Dad, there's a riot at the docks. Alette runs up to you out of breath. We're trying to smash up the boat. They're trying to smash up the boats. When you calm her down, she says the ravens are there, but she's worried things could get out of hand. You consider what you want to do now, knowing any of these tasks will take a full day. Fuck. Ugh, it's not a good situation. Because we got a bunch of people injured. We need to rest. But we have no food. And then there's the riots. As much as I hate to, I feel like I should do a rest. Because that just gets us weaker and weaker. Okay, we'll do walls. The Stone Singer's going to wreak havoc on us if we don't take care of it, Ivor tells you. This will be a rough fight. We've got to take it down. You ready? Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Let's see. Okay. Well, there's going to be a Stone Singer. Hopefully it's not. Okay, okay, okay. You are going to be a problem. Fuck. Didn't mean to hit ready. Oh well. Okay, he's gonna cast some shit. Okay, you're gonna cast Click Clack Rocks. Okay, can't attack anyone from there. Oops. Oh, really? lighten up that little corner there. Well, this should ricochet nicely. Well, at least this guy's got no armor now. Although Krumer's almost dead, which sucks. Still? Why does my range feel so crap right now? Oh, really wish I had gotten to move those other two before they hit ready. Okay, Stone Singer's casting shit again. Oh, thank God, I can finally get in range with Oddleaf. Well, killed his own. That works. Ooh, nice. Whew. Oh, fuck, I don't like the look of that. One still gets one. This morning, says Ivor, I saw him. Bella was here. I think it won't be long now. Avon leans silently on his staff nearby. One of your clansmen comes to you out of breath. Rook, he says, things are real bad. Look, there's nothing you can do at this point, but a lot of the caravan has been robbed, killed, just disappeared. Those of us left are going to split up and hide where we can. Wanted you to know in case we somehow pull through this. He runs off, clearly distressed. You grimace, wondering if this could have played out another way. You're considering what you want to do now, knowing that any of these tasks will take a full day. With everything going on, you find yourself completely exhausted. You go off on your own and try to find a place to get some sleep. You slumber poorly, waking several times in a panic. Eventually you give up, only slightly more alert. Ivor, you begin. Can we really keep this up? Ivor looks like he hasn't slept for days. We lost a lot of fighters, he mumbles. The weight of the situation is crushing. Then, from far in the distance, you hear a horn. Dredge don't use horns. It occurs to you, Avon appears at your side, just as a long caravan of people come into view, Dredge turning to attack them. Who is that, you ask? It can't be, says Avon, as he runs toward the gate, shouting. You see their banner? It's Hakon! As you wonder how they got here, the gates are heaved open, and you charge to the field, clearing a path through the dredge. Well, I'm glad we rested. I hope that healed someone up. Well, it healed Rook up. Okay. Well. Okay. At least there's no real big dudes. Let's see what we got. 8, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. Oh, yeah, this is going to be nice. This is going to be real nice. Boom. Keep forgetting that he's ranged. Oh, what? Why didn't that ricochet through everybody? What do we got? Rook? Okay, Rook should focus on armor breaking. Well, this looks like a setup for battering ram if I ever saw one. Okay, who's got the most armor to break? You. Nice. Not so nice. Nice. Well, we totally fucked up like all their armor pretty much, except for like one guy. Ah, it's so nice when you break their armor. Haha, got you. All right. Howley, the only one we lost? Nice. Alrighty. Oh, shit. Juno. I wasn't sure I'd ever see you again, Avon. She smiles and they embrace. Avon is clearly taken aback as though he doesn't dare believe she's real. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to Sigerholm. I ran into problems. Problems is putting it lightly. There's a mile-wide canyon practically splitting the world in two over those hills. Couldn't find a place to cross. Worse, dredge are falling out of it like blood from a wound. They're not coming from the north anymore. They're everywhere. We noticed. Glad to see you made it out alive, Yingvar. I take it the others didn't. Hakon becomes quiet and motions toward Juno. She got across somehow, found her out cold for the second time since leaving Strand. We need every axe we can get right now. Bellower is here. Gods be damned, I thought I was free of that menace. I will deal with Bellower. Come on, no need to tempt him by standing out here. Hakon's caravan enters the city, fighting off waves of dredge. As they go, to your relief, hundreds of skilled warriors are now safely in Beauregard. Hakon joins you with his personal bodyguard, Moger. Oh, that's a lot of supplies. Moger, behind him is the Prince Luden and his entourage are in tow, though looking less than pleased to be here. I have one last trip to make. I need this one to come with me, she says, pointing to you. I'm sorry, Avon. You must wait for me one last time. Do not let the city fall before I return. It takes everything within Avon's power to hold back, but he does. She turns to you. Rook, come with me. We'll return in 2 days, maybe less if you're quick as you look. Tell anyone who needs to know. Not far, says Juno. She pauses and something shifts in your vision for just a moment. I know it's hard, she says, her voice filling your head, and you've already been through a lot. But as she speaks again, the rest of the world melts away. But you're needed. You can't find the words to argue. Give me the plot. You don't remember leaving the city, but here you are, walking through unfamiliar ground behind Juno. You're alone, standing aside from hundreds of dredge, who are all facing an enormous stone ahead. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Whoa, what's this? We are at the Godstone of Stravs. You glance nervously around, but the dreads don't seem to hear her. It's okay, you can speak. Softly. Is this where you're going to sacrifice me? Juno smiles. What could have come across as profoundly creepy looks sincere instead. No, the dredge cannot see us. To be more precise, they can see us, but I've convinced them to be unconcerned. I can understand your apprehension, though. Who are you? I wish we'd had time for a proper introduction. My name is Juno. I am on the Mender Council. You've met Avind, my apprentice. How are you doing these things, controlling minds? I thought Menders built things and healed wounds. You are right. Menders do these things. Some of us still practice the teachings given to the Loom Mother's first creations. We are called Valka. I believe I am the only one who can influence another's mind. Then why not take control of Bellower? I learned the talent to heal minds, not control them, though even some Valka have trouble believing this. Taking control of Bellower is the difference between convincing a child to sit still and telling a starving bear to stop being hungry. The truth is, we're rarely a match for the Sunder anymore. Our advantage is that we can train more Valka. It is also our weakness. The Valka pass on and lose their knowledge, while the Sunders simply grow older and more powerful. Bellower is both immortal and beyond my influence, to a point. Then how do we stop him? The God of Secrets will play a part, as will you. What are we doing here? Do you know of the god Stravs? Few know this stone exists, even among those who live their whole lives in Boersgard. While Dangler deals in fortune, Stravs taught men the value of trade in a different way. He showed them it has consequence, two sides of the same coin. See the silver in the stone? The gales up here wear away the stone, but the metal remains. We need a piece of this silver. The god of Stravs is wreathed by imagery of silver weapons. The myths say he traded these weapons to the gods, and they used them to kill each other. Those who seek out the stone call him the god of trade. The Menders call him the god of secrets. He was both. Why are we surrounded by dredge? They seem to be drawn to the godstone. There are many things we don't know about Stravs. Maybe they see him as a patron, or as an attraction they cannot explain. Does Stravs have something to do with that serpent in Einertoft? What was that thing? I cannot say. Can't? I have my suspicions, but until I've had time at the Mender libraries, it would be unwise to speculate. For all our knowledge, it always seems as though we know little. Imagine how the rest of us feel. On the contrary, the less people know, the more certain they tend to be. Juno waits patiently for your reply. Why did you pick me? Why didn't you take Avend or Hakon? You don't even know me. I apologize for putting you in danger. Avend must keep Boersgard from falling while we are away, and if something goes wrong here, I need to be certain one of us makes it back alive. I saw the thoughts of each person when I arrived in Boersgard. You were the only one I knew would return. What do you mean? You would find your way back to Alette, no matter what. Let's get what we need. Indeed, you'll need to dislodge at least a fistful of metal. We'll forge it into an arrow to slay Bellower. Wait, after everything you've told me, make a magic arrow to shoot Bellower? That's all it takes? Why didn't you do that a long time ago? Juno gets a faraway look in her eyes. No, that is not all it takes. What I tell you now must not be repeated. The arrow will not kill Bellower. Even were it to strike his heart, he has no physical weakness, but will sow doubt in his mind. When it pierces him, I will help him to believe that he is dying. The rest of you will convince him of it with sword and axe. Everyone who fights at your side must believe it to be true. You're going to trick him into thinking he's dead? That's the most insane... He really can't be killed? No, someday he will awaken and realize he's not dead. I imagine he will be quite upset. First, we must make the arrow. Focus on the task at hand. She looks knowingly at the godstone, waiting for you to start climbing. Rook, I'm not certain how the dredge will react when you do this, and behind us is a sudden drop, so be careful. Approaching the back of the stone, you start to climb, looking for loose pieces of silver vein. Even without looking on the dredge, you feel each sinister face watching you, held back only by Juno's influence. Panic races through your blood. As you climb, you can't help but notice the stony mass of the dredge lined up for the godstone, like worshippers before an idol. Just a glimpse nearly immobilizes you. Your hand rests on a piece of silver that comes away easily. The dredge do not react. While you're here, you glance quickly to see if there are any more low-hanging fruit. You're able to pry away another smaller piece of silver before your nerves give out. You nimbly descend to where Juno is waiting. Well done, she says. As you walk back through the dredge, their heads turn in unison to follow. dread that lingers, and the shaking in your hands does not subside for hours. Nice. You approach the gates of Boersgard, relieved they're still standing. It looks like they took a beating while you were gone. Alette rushes to your side and throws her arms around you once you've crept through the gates. Juno smiles at the reunion and tells you, "Take this time with your daughter. Find a smith who can fashion an arrow from that silver. I have other things to which I must attend, but meet me on the walls when you are done." Well, at least we have some stuff to finally upgrade people. Oh shit, we have like everybody here now. Oh, let's see. If we've got everybody, well, Mogre always kicks butt. Well, if we can get a little more renown, we can upgrade someone a little more. It takes a while, but you finally found someone willing to craft an arrow for you. He eyes you suspiciously while you show him the silver, but shakes his head and gets started. Alette watches the smith's fire reflecting her distant stare. "I talked with Haven a long time while you were gone. He told me a lot about Juno. Is she really as powerful as he said?" "Certainly seems that way. That might be the most luck we've had so far. Dad, I think I know what's going to happen now. An arrow, she's going to make you shoot Bellower, isn't she?" "I don't know for sure." "Come on, who else is going to do it? Ivor?" "Let, I know where this is going. You're afraid of me dying. This isn't like before. We can't run this time." "That's not what I... Let me do it." "No, there's no time for thinking. What do you do when Bellower comes straight for the person holding the only thing that can destroy him?" "Let me speak. Everything's changed. Skoger feels so long ago. I'm not asking because I'm afraid of losing you. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. Let me do it because you know I'm a better shot. I have a better chance of puncturing his armor. We only have one shot. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not just some girl. I'm your daughter. I can do this. For once, let me decide what happens to me." She smiles and takes your hand in hers. "We'll survive this. I know we will." You sit by her side silently until the smith finishes his work. There he is. Juno's in the middle of an animated debate as you approach, the arrow in your hand. "There's little time left. Bellower knows we're here. Whether he's waiting for more of his forces to arrive or simply wants to starve us out first, I cannot tell, but he will not expect a direct attack." "Is this a joke? How are we going to do that?" "I will take a handful of warriors to face him. I can keep a small group hidden from sight. The rest of you will lead the charge from here. With luck, Bellower will send his armies away from himself to meet you." "What about the ravens? They may protest." "They will not. I've arranged a task for them." "Even if you make it to Bellower, what chance is there of defeating him? We saw what happened at Einertoff. That thing can't be killed." Juno shows them the arrow you had forged from the Godstone silver. "This will make him bleed like the rest of us. Once he is pierced, he will be vulnerable." She looks you in the eyes. "We only have one. Do not miss. And bring only those you absolutely need. It will take all my concentration to keep the other dredge swallowing us up. I cannot join in the battle." "And if we kill Bellower, then what? The dredge will just wander away?" That is my belief, yes. I can't say for certain. This is a doomed plan. Help us hold out here until the ships are finished. And then what? Bellower will hound our every step all the way to Arborong, where I'm certain more sunder await. Now is the time to speak to loved ones in the memory of any god that pleases you. Rest. In the morning we slay asunder. Oh, snap. Well, didn't quite get enough to upgrade anyone again. What do we want? Didn't mean to click out of that screen. Still need to figure out who else I want. Hmm. No. Maybe we'll do Hakon. Okay, I'll keep the aggro off of him. Okay. Let's do it. The silence is what you remember. You rise in silence and walk through empty streets. Upon the wall, two armies stand quietly watching each other. Your footsteps echo on wooden floorboards as you approach Juno. She breaks the silence. It's time, Juno says. Gather your allies. Today, one thing will end, another will begin, and our actions will decide on which side we stand. Whew. Can I up either of these? Let's up. Let's up a lead. Okay. Let's do it. Whew. Oh, fuck. Okay, what do we got in terms of armor? 16 stuff, okay. Okay, so we're gonna rush up, break his. Gross. Okay, get Hakon over here. Owie. Oh, snap. Okay. At least everyone's, well, pretty much back. Okay. Oh, and there's a stone singer. Ooh, oh, ooh, ah. Fuck. Ooh. Just get the big guy down. Well. Ooh. Woo. Woo. Thank God. Alette, no, not her. Where are the menders? Rook, she is beyond their help. Stand up. You're only barely aware of the surrounding chaos as Dredge flee from Varl warriors to push their advantage. Bellower is dead. You are not. We must go. Let me carry Alette to Beauregard. We'll honor her properly. Juno was right. With Bellower fallen, the Dredge flee the field of battle. You return to Beauregard, but have almost no memory of doing so aside from the image of Alette's body still being carried in Ivor's arms. So, we should have the time we need to finish the ships. I think you're right. The Dredge don't seem interested in us anymore. Since Bellower fell, they've gone their own way. The Ravens have been keeping the docks clear. Juno's talking to them about something now. If those longships are ready, we'll be able to sail all the way to Arborong. With luck, before the darkness shows up here. How far south has it spread? I couldn't say. Hopefully not far. We'll get the prince back to his home, and Hakon has already decided to come with us. Well, there's not much else to go back to. The two look up as you approach. Rook, it's time. Soon we'll be ready to leave Beauregard. Find somewhere safe. Our ship is done already at the docks. I have it prepared for Alette. I'm not ready to see this. Come, Rook. It's time to honor your daughter. Oof. God damn. Oh. Oh, man. It feels. Oh. Oh, fuck. The feelings. Oh. Yes, props to Austin Wintry for the music in this game. It is so good. Oh. Didgeridoo. Oh, Icelandic vocals. That's what these are. Very cool. Well, I think we will definitely do Banner Saga 2 and 3. I don't know if I'll do them right now, because I want to take a little bit of break from a game that is very, very reading heavy. Although it was a lot of fun, since I do D&D games and stuff, it's kind of fun to try to do the voices of sorts. I hope that makes it a little more interesting for you all to watch. But, yeah, I need to... I might do something else just to give my voice a break from having to basically read out loud for several hours straight. But, oh, that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad I replayed that. I'm really looking forward to the other two, because I've never played 2 and 3, so I'm curious to see where the story goes. I'd only ever done this one. Because it is really great. A lot of translations. Well, let's see. While these credits are going, let me see if there's anybody I know who's around, so we can send you over to them. Nope. Nobody right now. Well, we will let these credits play out. Looks like we're to the Kickstarter backers now. It's kind of weird that there's no music in this part. It's just silence. Oh. I had totally forgotten how that game ended. Like like all I remember about the end was like I remember that there was, you know, a very long trek with very dwindling supplies across a big chunk of the continent to a city on the coast. And then you finally fight the big guy, but I totally forgot that Olet dies. Oof. Well, I wonder if that. I mean, I have a feeling that's probably set one of those decisions that's set in stone. Because I think even if we'd said like no, Olet don't, I feel like she would have somehow ended up dying anyways. Kind of like Ivor losing his arm. I feel like that's another way. That's another thing that's just gonna happen. A lot of the other stuff is choice dependent. Kind of curious to see like what that tree. Ugh. Kind of curious to see what that tree looks like. I might go look it up just to see like what decisions actually affected stuff. Because like I remember the first time I played, Gunnulf didn't die. Because like we lost him really early on because we had that cart that went over the edge on the tree and he got pulled off with it and died. But I remember having Gunnulf for like a lot longer in my original playthrough of this game. I'm trying. I don't remember if I had Onef along and had the whole betrayal. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I can just scroll through these. Okay, since this is all just Kickstarter backers, there's a lot of those, so I'm just gonna scroll through these guys. Appreciate you, Kickstarter backers, but oh, that's it. Hey, we beat it on normal. Oh yeah, first time I played, I did it on easy. That's right. Well, cool. Very cool. It's heraldry. Oh, you do like crests that people design. That's cool. Well, cool. Well, thank you all for coming. And this has been a lot of fun. A lot of feels. I love games that give you feelings. They're good. And I hope you enjoyed all my attempts at D&D DM voice acting various characters. I tried. It was fun though. It was real fun. So we'll call that for tonight, and we'll see you next time. Probably Friday. I don't know if I'll do streaming tomorrow. We'll see. If I figure out what I want to do that isn't Banner Saga, so I know what I'm playing that isn't going to be a reading fest. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow. Maybe I might have some other work though. We'll see. But definitely on Friday we got Dragon Heist. So we will see you then. Bye.